What up, dudes? It's Gaz, and welcome back to the WARFRAME video. So, today we're talking about an experiment I've had over the last week with the Prisma Ohma and its Rivens stats. We'll be discussing what is happening, what is in the game right now, what is supposed to be in the game right now, and how DE should move forward with this type of change for the betterment of the player enjoyment. So before we get into it, make sure you're subbed to this channel. We do daily Warframe video uploads, things like discussion videos like this, get a weekly reset video tomorrow, build videos, and tennocon coverage coming out over the next week. So make sure you're subbed. Also check out the live stream channel. I'll be live tomorrow with the weekly reset and of course with tennocon and more. So make sure you're hanging out on the live stream if you want to come check it out. Alright, let's get into what we're talking about today. So the idea of the video today is going to be about Riven disposition. And if you watch a lot of my videos, you might remember that like a week or two ago, I made a video saying, hey, enough is enough, DE. 0.5 dispo weapons, like the lowest stats possible for new weapons, should not be a thing anymore. And once the newest weapon, the Prisma Ohma, came out at Barrow, it was released with neutral Riven dispo stats. If you're not a big Riven user, what that means is basically its stats are mid-tier, like middle of the road level of stats. But if you look right here, this Riven disposition, the most basic way to look at it is the more dots you have, the more damage you have on your Riven. This one says it's 1 out of 5 dots, the lowest stats possible, but if you actually look at the mod, it's the strength of a 3-dot Riven, but it says 1 dot right here. And that actually has not been a problem at all. It's supposed to come out with the lowest stats possible, but it has mid-tier stats right now, and no one has complained at all. And by the way, the Prisma Ohma is not like, it's not breaking down the front door like this is the most OP thing ever. This level of Riven stats is totally fine. I'm going to show you the difference between the Ohma and the Prisma Ohma on Riven stats. So we've got 88% crit damage, 90% heat, 1.7 range, and minus 87% slide attack crit chance. Look at the Ohma normal, which is lower stats. As you can see, this is like overall just lower stats. The Rivens on the normal Ohma are still higher stats than on the Prisma Ohma. So it actually is still fine. If you really wanted to use the normal Ohma after the Prisma Ohma came out, a Riven would make them a little bit closer because you're getting, an extra 30% crit damage on here or whatever it was. So that stuff can add up really, really nicely. As you see right here, this is a 4-dot dispo. So DE, I know it might have been a mistake to make the Prisma Ohma's dispo neutral, but it did not do anything bad. It was only a good thing. And the Prisma Ohma is not like a meta-defining weapon because of its slightly higher Riven dispo than was intended. Now, this is a visual issue in-game. It should have 3-dot dispo. But I think that if DE did this on purpose, they should keep it this way. Because if you start looking at some of the more recent weapons that actually did have the low dispo, the Rivens are just a feels bad. So let's start looking at some of those too. So, for example, one of the best examples is right here, the Fulman Prime. The Fulman Prime is the newest Prime weapon. It's a Prime primary, comes with Wisp Prime. It's pretty good and cool, but when you start looking at the Rivens are just pathetically weak. I'm going to first show you the Fulman normal stats. And just a reminder, if you didn't know this, different variants weapons have different stats on their Rivens. So here's my normal Fulman Riven, 64% multi-shot, 119% crit chance, 135% damage. We go to the Fulman Prime, that 64% multi-shot, which was hardly even that much in the first place, becomes a pitiful 40% multi-shot. Literally weaker than like any multi-shot mod in the game at all. Like, it's pretty much a rank like 3 vigilante armaments. So this mod is stronger than my Riven, and this is a good Riven in my eyes. So yikes. This is what the bad side of Riven dispo can be. This is an actual 1-dot dispo here, and this is what they want to do going forward. Fulman Prime Rivens are very weak stats, and the Fulman normal only had 0.6 dispo in the first place. So what DE should really do is that with a new weapon, I know I said this in videos a lot, but this is literally showing they did what I was asking for on accident, it seems like, and it worked out great. People are buying Ohma Rivens. People are enjoying the Prisma Ohma. The Prisma Ohma is pretty good. In this footage right here, a viral electric or a gas electric build, and it's quite good against grouped up enemies. Throwing some viral procs, very, very nasty and powerful. But it's not the only weapon I'm using at all. It's not even close to an incarnon as far as utility and all of that. So what they should do is when a new variant of a weapon comes out, it should have neutral dispo. That means 3-dot dispo. And that would mean that weapons like but let me finish talking first. So neutral dispo if it's a new weapon and the previous version of the weapon had higher than neutral dispo. So the Ohma would be the perfect example. This is how they should do this every time going forward. The Ohma normal has higher than neutral dispo, has more than 3 dots. Do not put a variant at 4 dots. Put a variant at 3 dots like you just did. This is technically a downgrade from the Prisma Ohma, besides status chance technically. But, you know, the stats of this Riven being halved would have been terrible. It would be like 0.9 meters of range and like 50% crit damage. That would have been awful feeling. No one will be looking to buy Rivens unless they just didn't realize the stats were lower. This is just a overall W for the community and also for DE because maybe they're getting more plat purchases for people buying Ohma Rivens. And you look at something like the Prisma Lens, one of the other new weapons that Borrow brought, it has 0.5 dispo and it feels terrible. It literally doesn't even have a Forma on it. This is a 0.5 dispo. This should be buffed to neutral at least. I don't know what the Lens Normal's dispo is, but yeah, there's no way I'm going to be running this Riven. Another 40% multi-shot, waste of my time here. So that's what DE should be doing going forward. If the weapon already has higher than neutral dispo, put it at neutral, and if it has lower than neutral, like the Fullman, put it at the same dispo as the previous variant. It's literally double the stats. It's literally double the stats on the normal lens, so that's a disgusting feeling. And yeah, the Prisma lens didn't really take off for many reasons, one of them being the Rivens are terrible, so that's going to be basically it for the overview video, guys. Now, this actually goes a little bit further than I'm initially telling you, because yeah, like, okay, for new weapons, this could be a system that they should do going forward, as they already have done it on accident, it seems like. But even going further, this neutral dispo at launch thing would help a lot of weapons out. And one of the weapons I'm really thinking about, I don't think about it too much, thankfully, is the Hound weapons. Did you know these Hounds have Rivens for their random weapons? I used to have one, I deleted it. But yeah, they had 0.5 dispo the longest time. DE forgot they existed, basically. And same with Arcwing guns, too. Arcwing guns should have neutral dispo or higher at launch, because Arcwing gun mods just aren't as strong as galvanized mods and the like. So I think that Rivens are an extremely neglected part of the overall balance and, like, you know, database maintaining. Like, okay, should we do this? Should we change our ways on this? Yes, you should change your ways on Rivens, because they have terrible RNG. You have no control over anything here. Just roll it, roll it, roll it. And the stats themselves hardly ever get touched. I don't know if the Muzzle on Rivens have ever gotten buffed. Not that they should, of course, but yeah, there's just so many forgotten weapons that just are wasted, sitting in the back of the dusty shelf on your ship, and you're never going to actually use it. And Rivens could be those things that bring a little, like, you know, vitalize a boring weapon that no one's looking to use. Like, for example, the Stephalos. That thing that came out with Citrine, hardly anyone was using it. It's gotten like 3 Riven buffs. It's looking a little more enticing with like 3 Riven buffs at this point. So if you have it neutral at launch, that whole waiting 6 months for a somewhat decent Riven wait time is not even required. So there you go. That's going to be the idea of this video. DE did a good thing on accident, and I'm trying to, you know, point out a good idea where it's been implemented. So if they end up nerfing the Prisma Ohma dispo after this video, I'm sorry. I was trying to help. But yeah, they did an entire week with no nerf, and there was also technically a hotfix too. So I think it should be intended, and DE should change their ways going forward. All right, guys, appreciate all the support. I'll see you in the video tomorrow and on stream. Take it easy. Bye.